The G1 Pretenders were a little odd, weren't they? Organic looking outer shells with a transforming robot inside that were, depending on whether you were looking at Western or Japanese canon, either literally inside of a giant organic looking guy or were able to shrink down to a smaller organic guy. It's weird. It's weird. Anyway, when they bring these characters back, they'll often make them look a little more conventional by combining their outer shell and inner robot forms together, creating some fairly unique looking bots that also have to transform into things. In 2022 we got a new Bomb Burst in Legacy's core class lineup, and I'm reviewing him now in 2024 because I really like him and you don't have the power to stop me. As a robot, Bomb Burst is a nice looking thing. His design's origin as a 1980s organic monster thing straight out of He-Man is very apparent, but is mixed up with a robotic flair. Also with the off-white and grey, I get a real high score 100 vibe from him, who is not a bot you get to compare anyone to often. In particular, I really like the way they use their paint budget here, from the stripes around the wrists to the underside of the wings to the mouth with teeth painted in a slightly different shade so they stand out. There's just a lot here that would usually be skipped since it's not 100% necessary, and it really elevates how it looks. Plus, his bat face is very silly and adorable. In terms of articulation, he's mostly ball joints, so he's pretty good, although there are a couple of things like his slightly restrictive shoulders and his lack of a thigh swivel that do ruin your fun slightly. However, his feet have a startling amount of movement in them and keep him really well balanced, so I can't complain too much. He's only a little guy after all. For accessories, he has these wrist-mounted wing guns, further tying into the bat motif as well as being an element from the original G1 in a robot. They also have some nice sculpted detail on the underside. Again, they didn't need to paint this bit since it's out of view in both modes most of the time, but I'm really glad they did. He also has this little hand axe thing that's also a callback to the original toy, the outer shell this time, although it feels kind of undersized and I could take it or leave it honestly. One of those accessories where you wouldn't shed a tear if it got lost down the back of the couch or was eaten by a passing bird, you know? Especially when he can totally just wield his guns like giant hand axes anyway. All these accessories can be stored on his back, although it sticks out weirdly and I'll probably never do it again after this video, so let us never speak of it again. Let's see what he turns into. I'm in two minds about this transformation. On the one hand, it's basically nothing, he just folds over into a jet whose wings barely stay in place. But on the other, this is exactly what I wanted. It's just the cutest little Cybertronian jet. Almost looks like something from a side-scrolling 16-bit shooter. And it's really neat how the dominant colour of the toy changes. I mean, it's all cheating as the white robot bits are literally right there on the underside, and when in bot mode the main body of the jet is all on his back, but the illusion works surprisingly well. Plus, pink windshields will always get a thumbs up from me. Although I must admit this is not how he tends to live on my shelf, neither do I keep him in robot mode. No, if you put his legs down like this, then he has a perfect girl walk mode, and that's how he tends to stay because it is precious and I love it. So to me, Legacy Bomb Burst is a toy where I can acknowledge its flaws and be slightly annoyed by them, but still completely love. He's just got no pretensions to be anything other than a silly little guy who looks like a bat and sometimes looks like a plane from some angles, but all I know is that I have spent way more on bots that made me smile way less.